Hello everyone, I'm Zháne. I became a college student, published author, and business owner all by age 18. And today I want to talk about how I chose my college majors and minors and how I decided to do a dual degree. Before we get into the video, obviously the background looks a little bit different for this stretch of what are going to be my first videos on the channel. This background we're gonna have because it's winter break, so I'm over my grandparents' house right now. I wanted to do this video because, number one, a lot of you ask me, what do I study? Everybody assumes that I'm a creative writing major or like a publishing major or something like that because I've published my books, and usually are pretty surprised when I say no. I don't think I've ever taken an English class beyond what's required of me in high school, college, whatever. So I did want to just inform you guys of what my major is. Also, because a lot of people seem to tell me like, hey, it seems like you have everything figured out. And this is one thing that I absolutely struggled with figuring out and did not have everything figured out. So I wanted to tell you. If you did already get a copy of my book, this version of my book, there is a about the author section in the back, and it's actually outdated by now, so you can see what majors, I think what minors I had at the time. I don't even know if I had my minors at the time, but if you're going off of that, it is outdated. Also, I want to mention, if you want to get the first version of this book, you should hurry up and get them from my website, which is always in my bio in all the videos, because this version of this book is going out of print pretty soon because there will be a second edition or version 2 of this book. If you want the very original of my book, you need to go get it soon. Or if you run into me, say like, hey, I want to buy a book, but this version of this book will be going out of print. I just wanted to side note there. But yeah, anyway, back to what I was talking about. My bio is outdated in this book. It will be updated in the second version. But while I was updating my bio for the second version of this book that's going to come out, I was like, you know what? I should inform people where I am because I'm now settled in my majors. I'm settled in my minors. I don't want to switch. I can't switch. I am, because this semester has ended, I am officially a senior. So even if I was like, hey, I want to do last minute switch, I can't. So I am settled in where I am. So right now I am pursuing a dual degree, which is a couple extra steps past doing a double major. I have 2 majors and 2 minors. My 2 majors, my main major is public health, and my secondary major is Chinese. And then my 2 minors are sociology and business. So I think I should just start from the beginning. I didn't always be like, oh, I want to do a dual degree. I didn't always even think I wanted to do a double major. I was here to do what I had to and get out. So when I first entered college, I actually was a pre-medical student. In my sophomore year of high school, I think I was a sophomore, I got into FSU's Stride program, which is like a pre-medical for a week, like summer camp. You get to stay at FSU and you interact with medical students, you interact with people in the Stride program, which is like a pre-medical special club. And you just get to learn about what it is to be a medical student at FSU. And at the time, I actually didn't want to apply for the program. My sophomore year of high school, I was not thinking about college whatsoever, but one of my teammates on my volleyball team, my high school volleyball team, she's in the healthcare field. I can't remember if she's a nurse or she's something else. So she's in the healthcare field. She heard about the program, thought that I'd do well in it, and was like, hey, you should try this out. And as soon as I heard about it, I'm going to be honest with you, I was not thrilled. I was just like, no, like, I'm okay. Like, I'm taking anatomy. Anatomy is cool, whatever. And that is one of my favorite classes, actually. I was taking it that year, and I was like, it's cool, but I don't know. Like, I didn't really know anything about the medical field. But after thinking about it for a while, I was like, you know what, let me try it. I started doing some research as I always am doing. I'm always reading. I was like, this is kind of interesting. It was a little bit different than what I had always thought of because growing up, I always thought I would be a scientist, which I'm not. Obviously, doctors are scientists, but I thought I would be like a non-medical scientist. I always loved biology. I love chemistry. I love these things. I thought I'd be a lab rat and just, do that for a living. So I just never hopped over to medical. So I was like, okay, it's a week. Let's try it. I did my application. I wrote on my essays, and I ended up getting a full scholarship to attend the program. So I got to go for free, which was great. Went there. Absolutely love the program. Love the people. The program itself is awesome. But for me, what was most important as I didn't have my college list my sophomore year of high school, but later on when I was building my college list, it really mattered to me that whatever college I went to had a good community. That was like my number one thing that I was looking for. Past, obviously, I need you to have good funding in science because that's what I plan on going into. I love the community. They're awesome. Like, I know that some of the kids in the program, if not most of them that were in the program with me, do go to FSU now. Many of them are still on their way to being doctors. They're probably taking their MCAT or studying for the MCAT around now. But it was nice. I just don't have the words to really describe what I'm saying. It just was a really good program. Left a really good impression. And then, it was only a week. After that program, I went back to high school. But I was like, you know what? I think I actually want to be a doctor. So that's what started my journey for me. So I ended up getting into FSU. And I went into, so the same people that run the Stride program also run this specialty program called IMS, which stands for Interdisciplinary Medical Sciences. It's a program at FSU. And I think it's also at, I want to say USF, University of Southern Florida. But it's basically the same thing. It's FSU's version of like a pre-med program or like a pre-med major. It's not called like pre-med as a major, but I think that's kind of the function of it. So when I came to FSU, I went into that program. When I came in, I think there was only 5 people at maybe like 5 or 6 people at my orientation. So the program was very small. So it was just like a select group of people. So I came in, I was like, okay, I'm going to go for this. This is going to be my major. And that was that. And I started off doing, biochemistry, psychology, all the pre-med classes my first semester. Now, there was a couple things that were red flags for me, but I didn't really know what to do with that information at the time because I was a freshman. The first thing that kind of tipped me off, I was like, I don't really like that. I have always since when I started high school, wanted to learn Chinese. As you've noticed in this video and the last video I published, I mentioned, hey, Chinese is one of my majors. I started learning Chinese my first year of high school, and I loved it, and I had a goal to become fluent in Chinese by the time that I graduated college. And even back then, that was something I wanted to do. So I thought originally, okay, I'll do this clinical professions major, and then I will minor in Chinese. This is what I wanted to do. But the program was set up in a way where you don't have to do a minor, but not only do you not have to do a minor, it's almost like you have to take so many classes for the major that you don't have room for a minor. So that made me kind of sad. When I went into my first advising appointment, still during orientation, I was like, hey, I really want to learn a language. I want to keep learning Chinese. And the advisor straight up was like, you can't. And I was like, what do you mean I can't? And he basically was explaining that it's too much to do at one time. Now that I've been in the Chinese program for a little bit and I've experienced the IMS program, I think it was wrong. I think I still could have done it. Like, I don't think it was that big of a deal, but I do understand why he said it. It was a lot of classes, but if I want to do something and I put my mind to it, I'm going to go do it. I think I would have been fine. But that means for a year, my whole freshman year, I didn't take any Chinese classes. So I like lost all of my language skills, which upset me a lot. And then the second thing that was a red flag was when I came into FSU, my first semester, I had to take 8 classes. I had to take 8 classes. That's ridiculous. I have not taken, I don't think I've taken over 5 classes after I got out of the IMS program. That was crazy. And I was also working. Like I worked an on-campus job. I think my first semester there, I was working. I started working. It was just a lot. Like, you know, so that was kind of, I was like, I don't know if that's for me. But still, I was able to do it. Now, this is where, now if this were to happen, I'd understand that I was in the wrong major, but I didn't know back then. The thing that really started to signal me that I'm in the wrong major is that I would spend hours every day, like, planning out, this is my 4 years of classes that I have to do, but I would, like, sit there and, like, plan, and then replan, and then change this, and then change that, and it's like, I couldn't settle on anything, because I'm like, this is too much, I can't do this, I can't do that, like, it was just, I couldn't settle on something that made me like, okay, this is my plan, and this is what we're gonna do. So after a little bit of that, I decided to make an end goal and plan backwards. So my end goal at the time was to become a physical medicine rehabilitation doctor. And so I was like, okay, I'll switch over to exercise physiology if I'm working my way backwards. I switched my major to exercise physiology, and it was more of the same. It was just a jam-packed major that didn't really let you do anything. Like, hey, I want to join clubs. Not like nightclub, like on-campus clubs, like those kinds of things. I want to go home and sleep sometimes. Like, you know, every waking moment of every day doesn't have to be stressful. I just don't believe that. And I do a lot of things now, but I'm just not stressed because I can plan. So I sat in exercise physiology for another semester. And then it must have been my sophomore or maybe the summer in between sophomore and junior year. I don't know. Sophomore year ? That I was still fidgeting. I was fidgeting with this schedule all the time. Fidget. And I finally checked out our website of like just list out the majors of FSU. I don't know why I didn't do that in the first place, but I saw we had a new major called public health. And I was like, oh, let me check that out, because I still like medicine, but maybe I'm kind of iffy and this and that. So I checked out that major and I thought it was awesome. And it had more of an emphasis in non-clinical work, which was nice, because I was like, oh, there's other things in the medical field I can do besides being a clinical worker. I was kind of realizing that although I think I'd be a great a clinician, I don't think I'd be a happy clinician. I think I'd be stressed all the time, and I don't want that. And then I fell in love with research. So I worked in 2 neuroscience labs, which are also language labs. That's how I got connected with them, and loved it. I was like, I want to do this. Like, I want to go and get a PhD and just research. So I was like, okay, let me switch. So I switched into public health and loved it. I love that major here. It's great. Lots of stuff to read. It's been great. And then I looked at my schedule for public health. It was a lot less rigorous than the other majors I was in, which was great because it meant I could fill my time with something else. By this time, I think I had published my book. I think. If I hadn't published it, I was just getting ready to publish it. I was running a writing club on campus. I was just doing a lot of stuff. I was working, all this. So I was like, okay, great. So then I was revisiting learning Chinese because I was like, I still really want to learn Chinese. I haven't gotten to do it. So this must have been my sophomore year because I was only out of Chinese for 1 year, my freshman year. So then I looked at the Chinese program. I didn't know anything about it, so I was a little bit nervous on the difficulty of it, and also I'm a year behind at this point. So I was like, okay, I want to take a Chinese class. So I took a Chinese class my first half of my sophomore year. Loved it. It was beautiful. It was a great class. I started all the way over. I could have tested higher, but since I had been out for a year, I was like, let me just start over. So I started in elementary 1 Chinese. Loved it. And at the time, I think I declared it as a minor. But then I was thinking about it. I was like, I could do a double major. I really love Chinese. Doing a minor is not going to make me fluent in it or really make me learn all that much. So I think I declared a minor and then thought about doing a double major. And I was talking to all these advisors, and I saw that we have a dual degree program. And I was like, what is a dual? What is that? I thought dual degree and double major were the same thing. So they're not. A dual degree is, at least for FSU, instead of earning 120 credit hours, I have to earn 150 credit hours. And I have to do 2 different majors. And then if those majors both require minors, I have to do 2 different minors. So that's why I'm 2 majors, 2 minors. So I was like, oh, that's really cool. Because I think the reason that someone mentioned a double major is because I was trying to choose between Chinese and something else that I really liked. And I don't remember what that other thing was, because whatever the other thing is, I didn't end up shooting for. So I don't remember. But I was like, oh, that's great. Okay, so I can do my 2 majors and my 2 minors. Done. So a little bit more time passed, and eventually I was able to declare Chinese as a dual degree with public health. I did a sociology minor all in one summer semester. It was great. I took a sociology class called Death and Dying for just like a university requirement I needed at the time. Loved it. It was great. I was like, I love sociology. I need to take more classes. So the summer was coming up right after that, and I selected 4 other sociology classes to take in the summer, and then I just knocked them out just like that. And that was my minor. My business minor, I actually just declared like a couple weeks ago. I kind of just had it as a placeholder. I didn't know what I wanted to do for my other minor. I thought about doing an international affairs minor just because the subjects were interesting, but it wasn't really going to help me career-wise. It's just like, okay, whatever. But then I was chatting with another person in the care department, and they were like, hey, have you heard of the entrepreneurship program? And I was like, yeah, I've heard of it, but I don't know. Like, I don't want to get a degree, I don't think. Anyway, we talked for a long time, and I was like, wait a minute. Like, this is actually valuable. So I'm doing a minor in business because I think the business minor is more beneficial to what I want to do than the entrepreneurship minor. But it's going to help me obviously do this. It won't necessarily help me write more books, but do more with my books, do more events, etc., etc. So that's how I came up with the 2 majors, the 2 minors. And then after that, I actually had to reconfigure all of my grad plans. So I'm pretty sure in my book, if you read it right now, it says that I wanted to be a linguistics professor, which I did at one point, but I do not anymore. No, well, not necessarily. I just don't want to get a PhD in linguistics. I was planning up until this semester, actually, or like this past semester, to do the sociology program at FSU. They have a combined master's and PhD, but the program got shut down, so can't do that anymore. I was like, dang, I don't know what I want to do. So I know for sure I want to get a dual master's. I want to get that Chinese master's. I realized very quickly that by the end of college, I am not going to be fluent in Chinese. I'll be able to talk and everything, but not to the point that I want to. So I want to keep learning that. And then I think I'm going to apply to do the MBA program after I had that chat about how business can be helpful for me as an entrepreneur. But yeah, now I'm about to go into my senior year. I'm happy where I am right now. I like my majors. I like my minors. I love my professors in like at FSU. For sociology programs, good. The Chinese program's amazing. I love all of them. And then public health has given me some really interesting professors that have really interesting class structures, which I like. The only thing that I think I would have done differently, and there's no way for me to have known this, my logic in having public health as one degree and then Chinese as another. Chinese, I don't have a specific career in mind for Chinese. Like, I don't want to specifically go teach in China or, teach Chinese in America. I don't specifically want to do that. I can. It'll be fun. But that's not like a main career goal. That was like my fun major. Hey, this is something I'm interested in. Not necessarily the thing that's going to make me money. It could, but that just wasn't my logic. So that was my fun major. And then whatever my main major was going to be my moneymaker. Hey, if I'm ever needing to I just need a job, I just need to know that I'll make money, that was public health. Obviously, that's not going to work out at this point, just because the state of public health. But that's the only thing I would change. I think I would have changed my main major to something that was more not stable. I mean, everything is unstable to a certain extent, but just something that maybe was more easily employable. At the time, I thought that public health was something like, oh, if I ever need a job, bam, I got it. No, it's not like that. But again, there's no way I could have predicted that. So I'm happy with learning what I'm learning. If I ever want to go into public health exclusively, I can go back and get my MPH whenever. So, yep, that's it. That's how I came up with my majors and my minors. It took me, I guess it took me up until last semester. So it's taken me all the way through my junior year to figure out my majors and my minors. So I just want to let you guys know, please do not feel like, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, it took me a very long time to figure this out. That's actually all I wanted to talk about today. Before you go, I do want to point out again, get your copy of this really, really soon if you want this version of this book. The second version is obviously updating the bio, like I said, but the cover is also going to be updated. That's why this one's going to be unlisted. So after the new book or the new version of my book launches, this one will be completely unavailable. I have some stock. I want to say I have about 40 books left of this version. So if you go to my website and you order, or you contact me and want to get one, I can give it to you, and you will be one of the people who just has the original, which I will not sell after I take it off or after it goes out of print. Otherwise, if you have any questions or are curious about how did you decide this or how did you decide that about school, put them in the comments. I will probably make another video to upload because I feel like a lot of people do want to know what I'm doing for school and how I got there. Anyways, this video is going to be a little short, but I just want to make a video to tell you guys, hey, this is what I'm studying, this is what I'm doing, because I think it's interesting that it's completely separate from my business. It has my majors have nothing to do with my company or anything like that. So I thought it might be interesting for you guys to know. As always, I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.